What we have going on behind us is a sort of performance, sculpture, experience, living
Machine.
experiment. Yeah.
Yeah.
The premise is turning motor oil into fuel by remediating
Into food.
into food.
Yeah, yeah.
By remediating it with mushrooms and other more psychological technologies.
Like music is one of them.
Yeah. It's powered by a bicycle, the entire sculpture, and it has many moving parts that sort of animate the process of the remediation that goes on. And then we're sitting right here at the end of what would be the cycle where the soil and the motor oil have been turned back into something that other things can grow out of.
My name's Chris Copeland. I'm an art major, a BFA, and I make sculptures, and sometimes I do drawing and things like that too. But I try to make things that can kind of host or that I can use living things with. So it's kind of a combination of regular sculptural materials like wood and steel and clay and things like that, but I'm also growing things with them too. I don't have any sort of particular constant in the studio. I mean, there's like a workbench and there's like a wall for doing drawing, and most of the time there'll be like some big thing in the middle of the space that's kind of dominating what you see. So it really is like always changing as my projects change. Like most of the time, if I'm working with a living thing, that will be like the kind of like at least a major focus of what's going on, like drawing attention to like non-human organisms and things like that. But I guess like I'm in the reverse of that. I'm kind of like working with themes of like industrial processes and sometimes like toxic processes or things that I think are like possibly bad for the environment or something like that, and trying to like rethink those kinds of things through making things about them.
I don't know what an average day would be like, but
it's probably pretty boring. Like, I'm gonna go paint this thing. Yeah. I'm gonna go paint this box right now. Yeah. See you later.
There's lots of sculpture has lots of little, especially with this thing, there's parts of it that are really mechanical that, can be challenging. I think we pick things that like with the intent that we're gonna have to learn a lot through the process. Because if it was just easy to make everything, then it wouldn't be very fun. So we pick things that end up being difficult.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and a lot of the exciting moments, especially because of what we're interested in, are like when we go downstairs into Josh's studio and it's like, whoa, like what is going on here?
Right.
It's like unexpected stuff or you put something somewhere and you're like, whoa, that works, and then something happens. But yeah, it just depends on the day. It's kind of this back and forth where make something, put it in, look at it, renegotiate.
And we'll be making sketches kind of throughout the entire process. If we're not certain about something, we'll make a maquette. But we both are really familiar with building things and enjoy the process of making stuff. So we get kind of really into that and lost in all the little details and stuff like that. My name is Josh Archer. I am an art major at School of Fine Art here, and I'm concentration is sculpture. My practice right now is like concerned with a lot of working with like living systems and living things. I've been working with remediation, which is like using fungi to remediate environments that have been subject to pollution. So the studio space right now is designed to kind of facilitate growing things, those being the mushrooms for mycoremediation. So we have on this side of the room is like all the lights, the UV lights for growing stuff, and on this side is like the pasteurization station, I guess. The process of growing things is kind of a slow process and requires patience, but it can be like really interesting and rewarding, like how the mushrooms grow through things in different ways. This is a violin that I've been like trying to grow mushrooms out of for like many months now. I think that like they're sort of an organism that we don't really know a lot about culturally, or we have a lot of preconceptions about what they are, and a lot of people are afraid of them, and mycophobia. But I think they are really interesting when you start to learn about them and how they're actually like hugely important for the health of environments and keeping things healthy. I'm curious about the potential for the to see like this sort of strategy. I mean, it's being used in some places in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has like there's a lot of reason for this strategy for restoration to be implemented in Pittsburgh. So I would like to see like this, hopefully like inspire more people to think about that.
I think he's talking mostly about remediation and that having a lot of potential for ecological use in Pittsburgh being like a post-industrial city that has like a lot of sites that are like essentially like very, very dangerous, for people to live in. But as far as like the art part of it goes, like I think a lot of the ideas are very exciting to us to take forward into future projects of our own or collaborations, and I think it will live on in a variety of ways. I don't think either of us came here and like thought that this would be the art that we would make, and possibly we wouldn't have considered it art or something like that. So it's like you can totally like let things, I don't know, like it's a risk, right? It's like when you first start making things that don't look like art or something like that, like it's scary, and there's a lot of, I mean, failing is good, the failing is great, and that's totally a part of it. But just let it out, let it go. Yeah.
Let it out.
Yeah.